Hello, beautiful souls. My name is Jessie, and welcome back to another episode of Rewire to Inspire. The show where we'll dive into self-love, learn tangible ways to rewire the brain, and discovering your soul's purpose. The goal of Rewire to Inspire is to encourage listeners to begin doing the hard work, to get curious and open to maximizing your life. Our mindset shapes how we live. Depending on life events, traumas, and personal experiences, our mindsets are all vastly different. However, one thing we all have in common is the ability to rewire our mind, to change the narrative, and to pivot our lives. I hope you leave each episode with the belief that you are so worthy to live a life true to you. I look forward to chatting with you every single Tuesday and Thursday and helping you grow exponentially in all areas of your life. Without further ado, here's today's episode. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to another episode of Rewire to Inspire. I am your host, Jessie Brown, and I am really excited to be jumping on the microphone with you all for episode number 151. But before I do, I just wanted to say the biggest thank you to each and every one of you who took the time to message me, to send me love, who replied on my post of celebrating 150 episodes. That was definitely a tremendous milestone for me, and one that I never believed in a million years was possible a couple of years ago. I never thought that I was the type of person to be able to be that consistent and to show up 150 times. So here's to the next 150. I am so excited to be jumping on here with you guys today for episode number 151. And today's episode is one that I want to pour from my heart. It's going to be a shorter episode, but one that I very intuitively felt would land for you guys. I would suspect that if you are a listener of this show, you resonate with a lot of the things that I share. And from speaking with you guys, one main theme that I've kind of recognized across the board, and I think this is kind of just humanity in a nutshell, but I know specifically a lot of the folks that I attract deal with a lot of the similar things that I did. And that is the concept of self-talk. How you talk to yourself, about yourself, how you introduce yourself, that inner dialogue that happens all the time subconsciously. And how much that's affecting how you're showing up, and how much that affects how we view our beautiful self. And when our view of self is negative, it's off, it's miscued, it's hurtful, it's hard to show up in a enlightened, joyful, loving way. And the thing is so much of negative self-talk happens subconsciously to the point that we don't really realize that it's happening, and we don't realize that it's driving. And when we start to notice our negative self-talk and we can catch ourselves in it, that is really when the magic can begin to happen. But I wanted to share with you guys today a little bit about my story of dealing with negative self-talk. And I still deal with this really frequently. However, the difference now is that I notice that it's happening. And I'm able to kind of, in real time, ask myself, is this a thought that is helping me? Is this supporting me? Is this accurate? Because sometimes when we have negative self-talk, it's actually valid, it's accurate. And so, for example, what I mean is I was on a good yoga streak, and then I had missed a day, and then I had missed another day, and then I got back on, and I broke my streak for myself of being consistent with yoga, which really bothered me, which is okay. I know all I can do is jump back in, and there's no point of dwelling on it when I can just take action and restart. However, for those days that I wasn't showing up, I noticed my internal dialogue was more negative. And that served me in a way because it got my ass in gear. It got me back on the mat showing up again. And so sometimes we have to ask ourselves, is my negative self-talk actually accurate? If it's saying like, hey, you've been sitting on the couch for too long, you've been eating too much junk food, like you need to get your shit together, that's actually helpful in a way. However, it's when we're taking action and we're doing all that we can, and we still find that we're just constantly in that negative bias. We're constantly beating ourselves up to the point that it's detrimental. And so we obviously have to start on a clean slate. We have to start from square one. And so to share this story with you all, I remember I've had negative self-talk as long as I can remember. And again, we're our own biggest enemy. We are our own biggest criticizer, right? We're with ourselves all the time. So we see and notice all of our own imperfections. And so of course, we're going to notice them. I think I've been on the higher end of having negative self-talk for most of my life, to the point that it would cause me severe anxiety when my hair would look a certain way, when my outfit would look a certain way. And it used to really, really bother me. And I remember being it was either my first or second year of college. I can't remember. It was my second year of college, kind of pinpointing the scenario and what was happening at the time. And I remember I got to a point in a place and I was just like, I can't deal with my own thoughts anymore. I can't deal with this negativity in my head anymore. And I had a friend at the time who always just seemed so positive. And I could kind of witness her in front of people behind the scenes across the board. And she was very constant in her behavior. And so I knew that it wasn't just a facade in front of other people. This was just who she was at the core. And I remember one day we were sitting in her vehicle and I had been having a really hard week and I was just venting to her and we were, going back and forth having a conversation. And I remember I said, how are you so, not even just positive, but how is it that you're able to talk about yourself in such a kind way? What is that? Like, what are you doing that I'm not doing? What do you have that I don't have? And what is your secret? Because I need to figure it out. And I remember she looked me dead in the eye and I was like, oh God. She said, I look myself in the mirror every morning and I tell myself something kind. And I was like, no, really, what do you do? And that's what she did. That was her answer. She's like, I tell myself consciously something kind every single day. I was like, okay, seems easy enough. Like I could probably do that. I remember the next morning I went into the mirror and those thoughts started, right? As they typically do. And I tried to tell myself something nice. Nothing surfaced. Nothing came up. It was, if anything, it was worse because I was more so noticing my thoughts, more so noticing the things that I had hated about myself. I was like, okay, it's fine. We're going to keep trying. And so I tried this practice for, weeks, months. And I remember I started putting my headphones in and I would start to listen to positive affirmations and I started to write out affirmations and I started to notice the things that I was telling myself. And I kind of started to notice a shift. And the biggest shift that also happened is in tandem with doing that, I found myself taking more action. I found myself being more consistent. And so all these things kind of byproducted together. Is that even a word, byproducted? They synergized together, if you will. They blended, they mixed, they harmonized. And I noticed that something started to shift for me. And I recognized that my pattern had kind of been broken a little bit. And although, here's the thing, this is why this is a hard subject to talk about, because I would never just tell someone, if you tell yourself nice things, like your life's going to change, it's going to be great. But there is a part of that that's true. There is a part of that that I know is true. However, I also know that I didn't just switch my dialogue from, oh my God, you are so beautiful. Oh my goodness, like your hair is so nice and your outfit is so nice. Like, no, that would have felt disgusting. Even now to do that is hard for me. It's really, really hard. Good at telling other people, hard at telling myself. And so I had to just keep practicing. And the biggest thing for me is I noticed how it felt. I noticed where I felt it in my body. If I told myself something kind and my brain went, whoop, nope, I don't agree, I noticed where I felt it in my body. And then I kind of tended to that area. Like, okay, like I feel that in my stomach. And what does that mean? And then I kind of went within. And that curiosity led me to interrupt one negative thought and instead just lean into embodying that feeling and where it was surfacing from. And so I kept doing this mirror practice over and over and over again until eventually it just started to get a little bit easier. And again, my message of this is sharing with you guys how I improved my negative self-talk, not how I fixed it, not how I cured it, because I didn't fix it, I didn't cure it. I've improved it. I've begun to notice when I'm telling myself something negative and asking myself if I want to buy that thought. Do I want to believe this thought? Is this serving me right now? And if the answer is no, you have the choice to let it go. When our brain starts to have these thoughts that it's comfortable with, and we've believed them, it thinks that that's your truth. It doesn't actually know and register what beautiful is, what a good outfit is. It is all self-perception. But if you are continuing to have them and to buy them and to believe them, your brain's not going to just randomly stop giving them to you. You have to become mindful and notice the things you're telling yourself, while also holding the duality that 80 to 90% of our thoughts that we have every single day, sorry, there is a little fly flying around and it is megally distracting if you're watching videos, sorry. 80 to 90% of our thoughts are subconscious, and so we need to begin to mindfully notice what that background dialogue is that's happening on a daily basis. Is it serving you? And a big thing that I like to do for this, you'll notice if you look around my space, there is affirmations always behind me. I have a shut up, you look good sticker on my mirror. There is stay positive and you got this stickers and just little things everywhere. Because I know that if I don't have those mental cues to remind me and to catch myself, I will catastrophize. I will go down that rabbit hole and I will continue to buy one thought after the next, after the next, after the next. And it ruins your day. It ruins your day and it ruins how you show up. For myself, when I have one negative thought and I buy it and I believe it, I instantly kind of check out a little bit. I go offline a little bit. And for me, the only way that I've been able to kind of help and support that is to begin to be mindful and to notice the things that I'm telling myself. And so, although I wish that I just had a spell to give you, a 1, 2, 3 technique, a tactic, what I will tell you, though, is that I want you to begin to notice what are the most common things you tell yourself. We all have like something in particular that we typically beat ourselves up for. What is it? Is it something that should you be able to take action, it would lessen? So for me, when I had put on a little bit of weight and I was noticing that I was gaining weight, I knew that if I took action and I was consistent in my fitness, those thoughts would start to go away because I was becoming healthier. I was nourishing my body. I was looking after myself. I was keeping promises to myself. But if it's something just about you, if you can't change it, how can you begin to build a better relationship with it? How can you begin to love on it and notice yourself being negative about it? Why are you being negative about it? Is it because society tells you that it's imperfect, or because you've self-identified that for yourself as being different because not everybody has that thing about you? And if anything, I just want to say, my love listening, those imperfections about you are what make you beautiful. I have recently decided that I'm going to try to like my freckles. I've always hated my freckles. I've shared this before. I tried to burn them off with lemon when I was younger. I remember being on YouTube countless hours trying to figure out how to get these damn things off my face. I hated them. And I had to ask myself, is this something that I can get rid of? Is this something that is just a part of me for life? And when the answer to that question is yes, you have to then ask yourself, is this worth me spending the rest of my life hurting myself over? Or could I potentially learn to maybe love on this a little bit more each day, embrace this a little bit more each day, and embody this a little bit more each day? The ironic thing is the things that we typically hate the most about ourselves, other people find the most beautiful about us. Notice how everything that you have, you want the opposite of. You have brown hair, you want blonde hair. You don't have freckles, you want freckles. You have brown eyes, you want blue eyes. We all want what we don't have, instead of embodying and embracing the beautiful things in which we are. And so I know all these things are easier said than done, but I encourage you to ask yourself, is this something I can change? Is there something that I can do to take action? If the answer is no, how can you begin to love on it? If the answer is yes, how can you begin to take action? Second thing, what is it that you most commonly tell yourself? Write them down. Build the relationship with those. I tell myself I'm ugly all the time. I tell myself I'm fat all the time. I tell myself I'm stupid all the time. Figure out what it is. Write them down and see them. When we can see them and we notice them, it's like, well, this doesn't sound very nice. And knowing that those things operate at a very, very low frequency. And when we embody those and we believe those, we are actually lessening our confidence for ourselves without even realizing it. Because when we are in that high vibe state and we are just embodying who we are, that is when you are most attractive. There is no outfit, makeup, hairstyle, anything that makes you more attractive than when you are just embodying, celebrating, and being your unique self. And then the third thing is I want you to try to catch yourself each time you're telling yourself something negative. Notice that it's happening, catching it, changing it, releasing it. Catch yourself in the spiral before it happens. Catch yourself telling yourself that negative thing. Maybe having a journal, and every time that you say something negative, you put a little tick beside it. Today I told myself, 3 kind things, and then start to track that. But I will honestly, my love, tell you that looking in the mirror and just being mindful looking in the mirror of what the thoughts were that were surfacing, not what I was looking at, what the thoughts were, quite literally changed my life. It changed my life. And I still have some of the worst self-image days possible, and I just always will. We're gonna have days that are harder than others, and that's okay. But you do not deserve to live your whole life in that negative headspace. You deserve so much more than to feel icky in your own body, of knowing that that is your body the rest of your life, and making sure that you're doing things externally to nourish it, to look after it, to love on it, of knowing that that's the only one that you have. And wouldn't you rather build a closer relationship to the one thing that is always going to be you, than to continually be your biggest bully? So that is what I have for you guys, my love. I just wanted to share that story with you guys quickly, of knowing that you're not alone in having negative self-talk. I suffer with it really, really, really commonly on a daily basis, I will say. The only difference is that I'm mindful of it. I notice that it's happening, and I'm trying to do the work each and every day to shift and to pivot it. And trust me, if I can improve how I talk to myself, you sure as heck can improve how you talk to yourself. So I encourage you right now in this moment to notice what your internal dialogue is at this time, what is surfacing, what's coming up, and maybe how this has been playing out for you today. Some days are better than others, so do a little check-in with yourself. So thank you guys for tuning in. I look forward to chatting with you all on Thursday, and I hope you're all having an incredible, incredible week. I'll chat with you then. Bye, you guys. Thank you all so much for tuning into today's episode of Rewire to Inspire. I absolutely love connecting with you all, so make sure you're following me on Instagram. I am at JessieBrown13. If you enjoyed today's episode, please feel free to leave a review or share with someone you think would enjoy. I look forward to chatting with you all next episode. And remember, get out of your head and into your heart.